this first meeting, which is only the presidents had the second meeting. The first meeting I wanted to put recorded, so if other people join your team and you want to fill them in, it's good that they can go back and look at this and our previous meeting, which are both recorded and available on the Women's League website. I'm just looking. All right, I want to welcome everyone here. We would love to go around and introduce ourselves and things like that, but we have business today, so we're going to have to make do with looking at the names. But we do begin with a Devar Torah, and I want to thank Teresa Samtur, who is the region president from Garden State.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to first start that I'm going to read a prayer, and I think it was written in 2019, not this year. A Hanukkah prayer for a time of darkness by Marla Baker. Creator of all, in the beginning you made the night sky luminous with the light of the moon and the stars, and you made the daytime bright with the light of the sun, and saw that it was good. And you created human beings in your own image with capacity to distinguish dark from light, with capacity to create holy sparks, see into the shadows, and shine light where it is dark. And you saw that it was very good. Creator of all and rock of ages, in the time of the Maccabees, once more you worked the miracle of light, permitting our ancestors to rededicate holy space. And it lasted 8 days and 8 nights. Creator of all and rock of ages, in the dark of night, in the darkest time of the year, we light candles in remembrance of the miracle. One more each night until there are 8. Creator of all and rock of ages, too many lights have been extinguished. The world has grown too dark. Creator of light and dark, teach us once more to see into the shadows, to shed our light in all the dark corners, and to create holy sparks for all humankind, so that once more we can say it is very good. And in the early days of the current era, there was a disagreement between the sages of Shammai and Hillel on how the candles on the Hanukkah should be lit. Shammai taught that we should begin by lighting all 8 candles on the first night of Hanukkah, then decrease by 1 candle each night. Reducing the number of candles each night mirrored the miracle of the oil, which was supposed to last only 1 night, but lasted 8 instead. Those 8 days gave time to produce new oil and keep the menorah in the temple eternally lit. Hillel taught that we should begin on the first night by lighting 1 candle, and then increase by 1 candle each night until we have a full Hanukkah on the 8th night. This is how we celebrate now. Adding a candle each night increases the wonder and excitement and brings more light into the world, not less. In celebrating Hanukkah today, we understand it's not just the miracle of the oil lasting 8 days, but also we, each of us, must shine our light into the darkness and be the miracle. Whether you are donating blood, tutoring a child, collecting food, warm hats and coats for families in need, or toiletries for women's shelter, you are someone's miracle. My Hanukkah wish for each of you, may your light continue to shine brighter and brighter, illuminating the miracle that you all are. And that's it.
Thank you so much, Teresa, for those beautiful words. Ladies, I'm going to mute everyone and ask you to please self-unmute to speak so that we don't have the background noises. Mute all. And I'm asking Renee to unmute, Debbi if she would like to, and anyone else who might like to, but just so that we can make sure that we hear it all and that the recording has a good quality. For those who are wondering, who are all these people? We have 3 categories here tonight. We have the region presidents, we have their region's conference chairs, and their conference consultants. And this meeting is for all three of us, and it really is being conducted by our consulting services chair, Renee Ravich. So I'll ask Renee to now unmute herself if she hasn't already, and she will conduct this part of the meeting. I do want to say beforehand, region presidents, when the meeting is dismissed, hear everyone but you, because as you know, this is our usual day for our monthly meeting, and we will have a meeting. We'll try to keep it abbreviated, but we will still have business. So please stay on the Zoom. Renee.
Thank you, Sandy, and thank you for inviting us to join your regular monthly meeting. It makes it much easier than finding another date for everybody. So thanks for that. I just wanted to make sure that we have all the information that we would like to share and point out a few key things to everybody. I just need to close up my chat and participants so I can read what I have here for my agenda. Okay, first of all, Debbi Goldich, Debbi Kaner, would you like to say anything before we begin?
Yeah, I just want to say hello, and I want to say thank you to everybody for getting on tonight. We appreciate that you're here. We appreciate the consultants stepping up and saying yes, that you would go to the regions. I've said this a few times this week, and I want to say it again, that Renee and Sandy and I created the assignments with a lot of information, and that they weren't random. They were made based on the region and the strengths of the region and the strengths of the consultants. And so we appreciate that you all said yes to us. And we thought this would be a great way for everyone to just meet and hear the information all at the same time together. So we're glad you're all here, and thank you for being on.
Okay, thank you, Debbi, for sharing. And there are one consultant who I know was, or two consultants, I'm sorry. One is at another meeting and will be coming in later. And another one had also had a conflict, but I know that those two consultants have already been in touch with their conference people, either the region presidents or the chairs. So please make sure that if you see that your consultant or the consultant sees that the chair isn't here, region presidents, make sure, please, that they get in touch and get all this information from everybody. So thank you. And to those that are here, I also thank you for joining us this evening. All right, so the most important thing that I would like to share tonight is that the consultants should be invited to all of the planning meetings for conference. It's important, especially this year, because things are very different, that the consultants know what's going on because they'll have a different role. They may be able to bring information to you, either because of their experience through convention or other workshops that will help you in planning your event. And also, please continue to use the consultants where you can at your conference, whether it be installation or presenting a program. We did ask that sisterhood presidents workshops, and if you are having a region board, that they be done after conference, because we know that everybody is having a shortened conference this year. And you want to use your time to connect more with your members, I'm sure, and present some other programming. So please set those dates on the calendars, the Women's League calendars, your region calendars, as soon as possible, so everybody's aware, and so that there aren't conflicts on the region calendar. So the next thing you need to decide is on a registration system. You may not have a treasurer that you can mail everything to this year. A lot of regions have a sisterhood that's in charge of conference and get all the information. You need to figure out how you're going to have people register and where it's going and who's keeping track. You may want to assign a person just to do that. Some regions are using online registration, even without charging. Some, if you plan to charge, that's something else that you need to figure out in your registration system. And you need to have that set in place, because before you know it, it's going to be February and you're going to want those emails to go out. Create a budget if you haven't already done so. It may be less than previous years because you're not having hotel costs or hosting costs for consultants, honoraria for or gifts for the consultant, or well, maybe you will, I don't know. But you may not have gifts for as many speakers as you usually do, but you still need a budget, and especially for the tech. If you are hiring somebody, I know that you're allowed to use your allocations for that, but you need to know how much your allocation is, how much you can actually apply to that. So make sure you get your budgets in early and set, because it'll also help you decide if you need to charge a small amount for the event. If you look at the events that have been happening in regions, some of them have been charging nominal $18. And if that's what you need to do to cover your budget, you need to have that budget ready sooner and then coordinate it with your registration. Okay, and when you are doing it, you may also have, if you're using online charges, please keep in mind that there may be fees for having a credit card. And don't forget, there will be some honorariums and some gifts that you will be getting. Consultants will need time to talk about Women's League at your conference. So they're going to bring all the up-to-date information, and that information may not be available until April 1st, because who knows what's going to happen in the country. So please be patient with them getting that information to you. But I know sometimes they are expected to do a long keynote speech. Please don't expect a consultant to do that this time. 30 minutes of listening to somebody on a Zoom can be very tiring for the people watching. So I would say 5 to 10 minutes will be enough to cover all the information that the consultant will need to bring. And of course, if you use them for a workshop, you know, that's a different story. If it can be technically done, and that's what we need to figure out, Debbi Goldich and Barbara Ezring will record short messages to be shared at your conferences in appropriate places. They will be 3 to 5 minutes tops, maybe even shorter. Depends on, shorter, Debbie's pointing down. Thank you, Debbi. So let's say 2 to 3 minutes where they will bring updates and greetings to you. So you do, hopefully you won't have to worry about that. And you get the international president and the international tour fund share at all of your events, which you don't normally get to do. All right, you need to decide early on how the installation of the new leadership will look. Do you want the consultant to be involved? Do you want your members to be creating an installation? Have you asked a rabbi if that's your practice to have the incoming president's rabbi install? Make sure you get their date cleared on the calendar. And again, this is going to look much different than past installations. And if you all saw convention, how it was done, part of that was pre-recorded, most of it was live, and it was cut back where, you know, we didn't bring up all 13 vice presidents and the other executive committee people that were being installed, the officers, the line officers. So you may decide to do something like that with pictures, or you may, if it's a smaller group, you may have them all up. So think about how you want that to look. Pins, leogram, and a calendar diary for the incoming region president usually goes to the consultant and they bring it to conference. This year, all of that will be mailed to the incoming region president, just for a matter of practicality. So please make sure that I get all the names and addresses of the incoming region presidents as soon as you have them, so that we can get that to them on a timely basis. All the materials that are usually printed that we ask the regions to print, such as the letter from Debbi, per capita sheet, information on how to access the website, none of that will be printed this year. Of course, it'll all have to be emailed to your attendees of the conference. So we will make sure that you get everything that you need ahead of time. It will be the responsibility of the conference chair to email all that information to the attendees of the conference. And that's where having someone that's really good keeping track of registration to keep that information handy. So, and you also may consider a tribute journal this year, because it is an installation year. Some regions do that, some may not have, but may want to do that this year. And again, if you do that, though, you're going to have to come up with a system for collecting the donations. And then that would also be emailed. And you can also, if your webmaster is able to do that, you can also have that scrolling on your region page, your region website. So that's those are the places that can be shared. And the other thing that we will need all the email addresses for are for evaluations. Again, no paper evaluations. Conference chairs and region presidents will get their own emailed evaluation form as usual. And we would hope you would send that back within a week. But for everybody else that attends your conference, we will create and send out an electronic evaluation where it'll be an invitation for them to click on a link and then fill out the form, similar to what we did after convention. It's very easy to do. We just need to have all those email addresses. And then you don't have to worry about it. And let's see. Okay, so currently, if you've looked at the website, there is a region conference section. Right now, it has not been updated. The region conference guide has been, and that has been emailed to all the chairs and to the consultants. And region presidents, you'll be getting an updated version. There was one change that didn't get made, and you'll get that updated version with the minutes of your meeting. Sandy, I know you were going to share that, but I hope you don't mind I did that. Everybody else did get that, and all the other forms will be updated. And when they are updated, you will get an email saying this form has been updated, or you'll actually get the form in an email if it isn't that large. If it's a short document, we can email it. And then consultants, we would like you to provide us with an update of how things are going by January 15th. So I want to make sure that you are all in touch with your conference chairs, and then just send a report to me, and I will share it with everybody else that needs it, just so we have an idea of where you're at and to make sure things are going along fine. And any other questions? So Susan, let me just say one more thing, and that's why the updated book went out, in case you didn't read it yet. The region president's pins are going to be paid for by Women's League. So that was something that was put into the guide that had to be taken out. So you do not need to budget for that, but you may want to budget for other gifts for special people. So that's it. All right, Susan. Steinberg. You have to, yeah.
Unmute. On the second page under personnel, there used to be a section for evaluation, and the fourth bullet begins the evaluation stuff. And I didn't know whether that was an error.
Yeah, I know. I did see your email earlier, and I just haven't had time to address it yet. It's okay. What page was? Oh, this is not the PDF. That's the Word one.
It's the second page.
No, I know. I just have to find the right form on. Okay. Yeah. So I can share.
I didn't know if it needed another heading or if it was okay under there. It looked like it needed another heading.
Right. I know. That's it's not a substantive thing. It's a formatting thing. And I agree with you. And I will see. And for those that want to see, why is no, it's I have a new computer. I can't figure out how to. Not letting me share properly. So, okay. So if you go into the region conference guide on page 2, under personnel, it's, for greater involvement and encourage your respective regions, spread assignments. And then it starts evaluation forms should be distributed and collected during the conference, schedule an evaluation meeting. And so it's just a question of whether or not we want to put a separate heading into there. So I will go over it with those in charge of the booklet, and we'll see. Okay, Fran's trying to share it, but it's okay. All right. Any other questions that anybody might have on conference? Please unmute yourself and just. All right. Sandy, were you trying to unmute? Sandy Capel?
No, we can't. May I ask my question?
Yes.
What is your recommendation for time for conference? How long it should be?
That's a good question. And I would think that it depends on how much you want to put into there. As long as it's varied, convention was 8 hours. I think it was for the day. That may be a little longer than you want to do, but I think, Debbie, if you're talking to us, you're muted.
I'll wait till you're finished.
Yeah, I would say to make it substantive enough for your members, I would say at least 4 hours. And I know that's a long time to be on Zoom, but again, if you have breaks set up and if you're varying it, if you decide to have a program workshop, or if a program sharing, or if you decide to have some speakers in on a panel, services of some sort are required as part of conference. It could be short. It could be a short mincha. It could be, they're all on Sunday, so it would be a shorter morning service if you start with that. If you start after morning service time, you might want to do a healing service or something else. So that itself would take probably about 30 minutes by the time you get everybody in and out. So, it depends on how much you want to put into your program. Debbie.
I have another question too before Debbie starts. Do you want, regarding the timing, we are going to provide some breaking in between, but we should allow them to really go off the Zoom, or it should be only 5 minutes?
I would recommend that depending on the program, if you have a big panel program like we had the other day, our program was 2 hours, right? Yesterday, it was only yesterday. Yeah. You know, that if you have something that's an hour, hour and a half, a long program, then I would give a 15-minute break at least for people to go get a drink, to have their break, stretch their legs or whatever.
Okay,
You know, that's something that your consultant will help you decide. And
okay,
again, it depends on how you create your programming. Now, I know that 2 regions are planning to have some of their programming jointly. So their day is going to be long because they'll have something before, they'll have joint, they'll have something after each of them, or they'll do all before together and then something after. And there will be breaks. There have to be breaks in between those different parts.
okay, thank you.
Did you want to add to that?
I was just going to say that many of you have 2 and 3 day conferences, and you may want to continue a 2-day, you know, maybe 4 or 5 or 6 hours on a Sunday and 4 or 5 hours on a Monday. And that really depends on your ability to manage a virtual convention and what your president and your conference chair and your consultant decide that you can all handle as a region. There's no limit. If you're used to having a 1-day conference, you may continue with that. But if you're used to having a 3-day, you may feel that your women expect more than just 4 or 5 hours on a Sunday. And it's really up to all of you. And if you are using a production company, professional or non-professional, you know, somebody's kid in college who does this really well all the time, listen to that person. And honestly, they're the best person that'll say to you, well, when I did this last week, we needed to give a 15-minute break here. And so listen to those people. They do this for a living and they know and accept their advice. But it's really up to the 3 of you in your region to decide, and the 2 of you, the president, the chair of conference, and your consultant, to decide how many days you want to do a conference. There's no limit, there's no minimum, there's no maximum.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions? Everybody thinks they know what they're doing. Is there anyone that has not yet been in touch with their conference? The conference consultants and chairs haven't met yet. And if you haven't, please look through the screen here. And if you're not sure for whom you're looking, just let me know. And maybe you can chat with each other for a minute just to introduce yourselves. Like I said, we're missing some people that were not able to be on. So if your consultant isn't here, that's why. Okay.
Carol Madvig's raising her hand, Renee.
Okay, yeah, I can't see all of them. Carol, just and Joan after.
Thank you, Renee. My consultants are Deb Bruce and Susan Ben Rubin, and I saw that
They're here.
Deb is on today. I did not see Susan on.
Susan is
Susan's on. I saw her. She's on the second page on my screen.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, hi, Deb. I'm Carol,
And
and I will be emailing you very shortly.
okay,
Susan, give a wave.
Your conference
Wave,
chair,
Susan.
correct?
There's
Conference
Susan.
chair.
wait, Debbie, did you have to say? Yeah. Is that you?
Just
Susan?
asking if she was conference chair.
Yeah, Susan, meet Carol. Susan is our consultant and Deb Bruce is just going to be, her co-consultant.
It says on my letter that they were both.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
I know.
Okay.
Okay, we'll talk. All right, Susan's on the bottom. She's of my screen because she was one of the last to sign on, and that's how Zoom puts you. No.
Renee,
Yes.
I'd
Yeah.
like to introduce Eileen Rubin to Carol Marks. And Eileen, could you put in the chat your cell phone number? And I will send it on to Carol so we can arrange to get together.
Okay, we are recording this part. And I don't know if Eileen wants to
I
put
won't speak.
her cell number
Uh,
in the chat.
You know what? You know what?
So, to her.
Eileen, why don't you email it to me and I'll share it with Carol. But I wanted to have the two of you have a chance to at least see each other's faces. I agree with you, Renee. That's a better idea, not to
Yeah.
share it in the chat.
Yes.
I
and-
actually chatted her a few minutes ago. I
And
don't know if she got it or not. She didn't respond, but
Wait, you
did you
said
see
something
it,
to
Carol?
me?
I thought consultant phone numbers were in the letters.
Did too.
I don't
I'll
think
put it
we've
in there. I'm not really sensitive to it. It's fine.
Okay.
I don't think we've met. I'm Carol Marsh.
Just,
Right.
Okay.
I
the only
just,
thing in the letters is email.
if I could have a second, I'd like to say something.
Yes, and Joan had her hand up though before, and I told her she could speak
Okay.
at Carol. So if you
Okay,
could,
well,
Eileen. All right, Joan.
well, she asked.
I just wanted to make sure I heard you right, Renee. Did you say that Women's League is going to send out the evaluations
Yes.
for, okay, then how are we going to see them? How, are we going to get them?
I'll give you we get summaries, and I can just copy the summaries and send them to you.
Not see the actual evaluations themselves?
The evaluation is, I mean, I can copy them, Sandy, I copied them for you. It doesn't show everything exactly. All the comments I can copy and send easily.
Okay.
The problem is that if you start sending out evaluations that people have to fill out and then copy and then send back or type into and return, you're less likely to get it if it's a link where they can just click 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and put in some comments. And I'm just afraid you wouldn't get the replies otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
But we would also get the comments as well.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We did that convention and it worked really well. We got over 700 evaluations out of the 14 or 400, I think. But we did it for conventions and we were able to see all of the comments.
Is there a way that whoever is creating your evaluation form, like when a person have a drop-down box and if they say ICR is the conference they attend, it not only goes back to New York to you guys, but may come to me simultaneously and have it, since you're only dealing with 13 additional emails, have it formatted so they say ICR. I don't want to see every conference, of course, but I would see mine and just have it go both directions simultaneously back.
I'll
The region presidents possibly.
Well, let me just explain something. You would not see every other region. When they come to our office, then you would only see the evaluations from your region. You wouldn't see every region. But I understand what you're saying, asking about it coming simultaneously, and we can ask our communications people if they can do that.
Because, I mean, I know for my region, it's important for me, but it's not only important for me, it's actually more important for the coming in conference chair presidents to see it, because they're going to be working on this for next year and would like to know what went well and what can be approved upon. So yes, I'd like to know for my personal growth, but more importantly, I need to share it for the future chairs and president.
I'll check on that. Thank you.
I have one other question. And I already have talked to my consultant, Carol.
Yes.
The question would be accessibility to leaders both at JTS and Ziegler. If we would like to bring them on as a panel, or are they actually asking for honorariums? Do you know, will they be asking? Will it be complimentary? Do they even have time potentially, depending on how many conferences that?
Yeah, Debbie, do you want to answer that? That's above my pay grade.
Yeah, I have to say that traditionally we don't invite the chancellor and Rabbi Artson to speak at individual region spring conferences, but that's not to say that if you extended an invitation, they might not. So, and in terms of an honorarium, they've never asked for one because of our donations to Torah Fund. They both consider that as part of their engagement with us. you know, I'm not going to tell you not to invite them, but I would be surprised if they accepted your invitation. I think Eileen was.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know. I just wanted to mention, Jody, I don't know if you know that Chancellor Schwartz did make a video for Torah Fund, and that is available for use.
Okay.
Eileen?
I was just responding to Fran since she had asked a question, but we took care of it.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. Anybody else? Barbara Ezring.
Yeah, in addition to Chancellor Schwartz's video, we are editing a video that Rabbi Artson made. So it's being edited right now and it will be available too.
Thank you. I did not know that. And I do, yes. Okay. Any other questions? All right, I don't see any other hands. I don't hear any other questions.
I see Joan's hand.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to ask. You mentioned, and I don't know, and this is probably something I can actually ask the region presidents, but you mentioned figuring out how to do registration. Does anybody have, are there online registration systems that anybody knows of that are available to use that might be low or no cost? I mean, are there systems out there that are like something similar to like a survey system, like a Survey Monkey or other things out there that are available?
Okay, Anise has an answer. Anise, if you want to unmute, please.
Eventbrite offers free service if you're not charging for your event. And there's another one, I want to call it Tree of Life, but it's not Tree of Life. But it starts with a T, that also, they only charge if you're charging for your event. So it's for free if you have free aspects of your event.
And Anise, if you can get that other name and then just share it with Sandy Blumenthal and me, and then we'll get that out.
I thought of it, Ticket Leap.
I'm sorry, Ticket Leap?
Yeah, Ticket Leap.
Thank you.
And they're both of them are familiar with nonprofits, and they're also familiar with, and they also, on their respective websites, they explain to you if you have a charge event, how they structure their percentage that they take from you. And they also both recommend that you build it right into whatever you are charging, so it ends up being no cost to you because you pass it along to the users.
Okay, thank you.
And I also want to add, if you look carefully in Constant Contact, you'll see there is a link in Constant Contact to Eventbrite. So you could set up an account through your Constant Contact account.
Okay, thank you. Jody, your hand was up.
We did it 2 years ago in 19. We did do online registration, and we Constant Contact, and I would say it was pretty close to successful. I would give it a 95%. There's always glitches, as you know, but overall, we were very happy in how it worked. It took a lot of effort, and this would be a lot less effort because you didn't have to worry about room assignments and meals and all that. But it worked. It was pretty slick and very successful, and we got the information we needed to have a good conference back in 19.
Thank you. Fran?
We use PayPal, and we've done our last few conferences on registration online, and it has worked out very well. And up until now, we have had what we call blanket registration, that each sisterhood based on membership number has a fee they pay, and as many members as wants to attend conference, the registration is taken care of for them. So I'm going to guess we'll try something similar. Maybe we'll reduce the amount. It will depend on our budget and what we come up with for technology and other things.
Okay, and I just want to remind everybody that if you are charging, that the money has to, and the email address has to be the region email and the region account, not your treasurer's personal email and a sisterhood account. Make sure it goes to the region.
No Venmo.
Right. Okay. Any other questions?